Welcome to the Plainville High School 2020 Winter Concert.
This year's definitely a little different from how our normal concert would go. But through all the challenges we faced, we have found a way to keep making music and to come together still, while remaining socially distanced, of course.
This year challenged our sense of what choir is. Safety required 12-foot spacing, short rehearsals, and masks to sing in school.
Our choir took up the entire floor of the Kegel gym when singing. We had to record our voices and videotape one person at a time at home or at school to create this presentation.
While this isn't typically what choir is, we took the challenge head on and persevered.
It will take more than a pandemic to keep us from finding a way to come together and do what we love, sing.
We hope you enjoyed this presentation of the Plainville High School choirs.
We Need a Little Christmas is commonly played around Christmas time to celebrate the holidays. However, this song was originally used in the Broadway musical production. The lead character sang this song the day after Thanksgiving during the stock market crash of 1929 to try and bring in a new sense of joy when our household really needed it. We sing this song not only to show our holiday spirit, but to bring joy and happiness to everyone during these difficult times. We hope you enjoy the PHS Concert Choir's presentation of We Need a Little Christmas.
Santa dear, we're in a hurry, so climb down the chimney. Turn on the brightest string of lights I've ever seen. Slice out the fruitcake. It's time we hung some tinsel on that evergreen bough. For I've grown a little leaner, grown a little colder, grown a little sadder, grown a little older, and I need a little angel sitting on my shoulder. Need a little Christmas, need a little Christmas now. Fa la 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 la, fa la la la. For we need a little music,
Need a little laughter.
need a little singing, ringing through the rafter, and we need a little snappy, happy ever after. Need a little Christmas, need a little Christmas now,
Gibraltar is a traditional round where Latin text translates to phrase or thanks to be God, where the piece is only 6 measures long, for looping it through and breaking it into 2, then 3, then 4 parts, lengthens the piece and creates an interesting texture and harmony. This piece was the concert choir's first attempt at virtual choir music, and it took a couple attempts to get the parts all in sync. We hope you enjoy Gibraltar.
Our first 2 pieces features the concert choir, which meets during the school day. Our next 2 pieces will feature the chamber choir. Chamber choir is an audition group that meets weekly in the evenings. The chamber choir has prepared a traditional round called Dona, nobis, pacem. The entire piece repeats these words in a various of textures. Dona, nobis, pacem means grant us peace. As we enter this holiday season, this is a wish from all of us to all of you, that you may find peace and joy. Our presentation will start with Haley Calder and slowly introduce the entire chamber choir. We hope you enjoy Dona, nobis, pacem.
Dona, nobis, pacem, pacem. Dona, nobis, pacem.
Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Dona nobis 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 pacem.
Dona, nobis, pacem, pacem. Dona, nobis, pacem. Dona
Chamber Choir's second selection weaves a traditional German carol, Still, 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 with a modern melody. Composer Victor Johnson did a masterful job of blending the new and old to create a beautiful contemporary setting of this carol. The song references the slipping away of the warmth of autumn as we slide into the depths of a cold winter. As the text progresses, the message describes how the moon and stars can create a beautiful light even on the darkest of nights. Similarly, our voices have the power to brighten even the darkest of days as our own lights shine bright. Toward the end of the piece, we show this visually while we repeat the enduring message that there is light even in the darkest of times. We hope you enjoy Chamber Choir's presentation of In Winter.
In winter, as the sun fades away, and the sky turns from gold into gray, the warmth of autumn has gone away. As we greet the new winter day. In winter, as the moon shines so bright, and the stars cast a silvery light, the ground lies hushed beneath the shroud of white. On this calm and still winter, still, 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 you can hear the falling snow. For all is hushed, the world is sleeping, as the stars their watch are keeping. Still, 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 you can hear the falling snow. In winter, as the moon shines so bright, and the stars cast a silvery light, the ground lies hushed beneath the shroud of white. On this calm and still winter night, on this calm and still winter night, in winter.
Our next piece brings back a long-ago tradition of PHS choir program. All of the sopranos and altos from chamber and concert choir will combine in a special tremble choir piece. Together, they will present Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening. This text represents perhaps the most famous poem written by Robert Frost. This poem has become a very important part of English literature.
Whose woods these are, I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near, between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark, and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep.
Ruth Artman artfully crafted a beautiful music setting of this poem. The tremble voices of the Plainville High School present Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening.
Thank you all for attending our winter concert. We hope you all have a great holiday.
Hang on a second, DJ. What are you doing?
I'm thanking everyone out there for watching our concert.
You weren't looking at your script, are you?
Maybe?
You forgot about the last piece.
What are you talking about?
You know, fruitcake.
Really, Ben? You had to bring it up. Do we have to show that one too?
I think we should. We don't want to be upstaged by the treble choir piece, do we?
I guess not. But really, can't we do something better than fruitcake?
According to Mr. Helming, it's all we've got in the files that would suit our voices.
I don't know about that.
It's too late now. We already recorded it, and we need to get this intro done.
Well, maybe.
You're just nervous because you have a solo, aren't you? Don't worry. You got this. It wasn't that bad.
Okay. In that case, thank you to our frontline workers for
DJ.
protecting us from Grandma's killer fruitcake.
Just introduce the piece.
You know, you really are taking all the fun out of this, right?
Well, maybe the piece speaks for itself.
You know what? I think you're right.
The holidays were upon us and things were going fine, till the day I heard the doorbell and a chill ran up my spine. I grabbed my wife and children as the postman wheeled it in. A yearly Christmas nightmare has just come back again. It was harder than the head of Uncle Bucky, heavy as a sermon of Preacher Lucky. One's enough to give the whole state of Kentucky a great big bellyache. It was denser than a drove of barnyard turkeys, tougher than a truckload of all beef jerky, drier than a drought in Albuquerque, Grandma's killer fruitcake.
Now I had to swallow some marginal fare
at our family feast.
I evened down on Polly's possum pie
just to keep the family peace.
I winced at Wilma's gizzard mousse,
but said it tasted fine.
But that lethal weapon Grandma baked
is where I draw the line. It was harder than the head of Uncle Bucky, heavy as a sermon of Preacher Lucky. One's enough to give the whole state of Kentucky a great big bellyache. It was denser than a drove of barnyard turkeys, tougher than a truckload of all beef jerky, drier than a drought in Albuquerque, Grandma's killer fruitcake. It's early Christmas morning, the phone rings us awake.
It's Grandma, Pa. She wants to know
how we like the cake.
Well, Grandma, we couldn't. It was unbelievable, that's for sure. What's that you say? Oh no, Grandma, please. Please don't send more. Please.
It was harder than the head of Uncle Bucky, heavy as a sermon of Preacher Lucky. One's enough to give the whole state of Kentucky a great big bellyache. It was denser than a drove of barnyard turkeys, tougher than a truckload of all beef jerky, drier than a drought in Albuquerque, Grandma's killer fruitcake. It was harder than the head of Uncle Bucky, heavy as a sermon of Preacher Lucky. One's enough to give the whole state of Kentucky a great big bellyache. It was denser than a drove of barnyard turkeys, tougher than a truckload of all beef jerky, drier than a drought in Albuquerque, Grandma's killer fruit, man, that's killer fruit, Grandma's killer fruit cake, Grandma's killer fruit cake.
Thank you for viewing our PHS Winter Choir concert. As you can see, today is truly a beautiful winter day. It has been an amazing experience working with the students of Plainville High School. In September, we asked the question, how do you run a choir when singing is perhaps the most dangerous activity? The students brainstormed ideas and together we experimented with how to safely sing and make music together. Keep in mind, no one signs up for choir with the thought that they will need to practice, sing, and record themselves singing solo. Yet despite the fear of the unknown, these students have persevered. Led by our amazing senior class, each choir student was brimming with so much artistic potential, and together we found a path. Thank you to all of the students. I cannot be more proud of the work that you have done this semester. Thank you for sticking with it and for your trust. Thank you to all the parents, guardians, and families for your continued support. More than ever, we could not have accomplished this without you. We have some big plans for the spring. Building on what we have already learned about virtual choirs, our hope is that the best is yet to come. I wish each of you and your families a safe and merry holiday season.